They called me a businessman, and they were right. While Escobar burned cities, I was buying banks. My name is Gilberto. I never lost a game of chess. Power is not taken by force, it is given by those who fear you. And in Colombia, everyone feared someone. I made sure that someone was me. I was born in Cali, not the wealthy part. The streets smelled of wet concrete and old oil. I was already watching who had power and who only pretended. I worked in a pharmacy as a delivery boy. I learned not medicine, but numbers. How much a bottle cost. How much stayed in the pocket. My first business lesson. By my 20s, I understood marijuana moves slow and earns little. Cocaine was the future. I saw it before anyone else in Cali dared to say it aloud. We started with marijuana. Then we saw the real numbers. Cocaine was 40 times the profit. By 1972, we had our first routes. Cali was now a headquarters. First shipments left from Buenaventura, hidden in wooden planks and ceramic tiles and frozen vegetables, 137 tons, and not one arrest, not one. In 1984, they caught me in Madrid. Spanish police at the door. 12 months I waited. Then Colombia called them off. I came home and continued the game. They put me in Bella Vista for 13 months. Inside those gray walls, I made 3 new alliances and doubled our European distribution. Prison was never a stop. It was an office. In 1988, they acquitted me. Lack of evidence. I walked out of that courtroom into the sun, not because I was free, because I had never truly been stopped. After Escobar declared war on the state, we let him burn alone. While he fought the government, we were bribing it. That is the difference between a soldier and a chess player. We owned a bank, Banco de Trabajadores, laundering money through your own institution. That is not crime, that is infrastructure. Escobar hid cash in walls. We used balance sheets. Drogas La Rebaja, the largest pharmacy chain in Colombia. Every peso moved through those stores. Clean, legal, untouchable. We were hiding in plain sight, and everyone knew it. By 1991, Medellin was collapsing. Escobar was a hunted animal, and we stepped forward. Cali now controlled 80% of cocaine entering the United States. 80%. We never threatened politicians. We invited them to dinner. A shoebox of cash before the 1994 election. President Samper knew who paid for his campaign. Nobody said a word. The DEA said we were grossing $5 billion a year from the United States alone. $5 billion. They were not wrong. They were actually a little low. We owned Atlético de Cali, the football club. On Sundays, I was just a fan, a man who loved his city. That was the mask, and part of the mask was real. Between 1990 and 1993, 137 tons in concrete poles, in frozen vegetables, in ceramic tiles, moving through Miami. Not one shipment lost, not one. Every container had a legitimate company behind it. Real employees, real invoices, real tax records. We were not just traffickers. We were the most sophisticated operation in the world. Routes into Europe through the Camorra in Italy. Alliances in Spain. Distribution cells in New York, Miami, Los Angeles. The CaliCartel was not a gang. It was a corporation. December 2nd, 1993. Pablo Escobar died on a rooftop in Medellin, shot in the head. I heard the news and poured myself a drink. Not in celebration, in acknowledgement. The board had changed. After Escobar, the Colombian government celebrated. They thought the war was over. It was not over. It had simply changed management. Cali was now the cocaine capital of the world. We delivered shoeboxes of cash to the Samper campaign in 1994. Not envelopes, shoeboxes. The president of Colombia was elected with our money. That is not corruption. That is investment. We paid journalists not to print stories. We paid judges to lose evidence. We paid generals to look away. By 1994, 80% of the world's cocaine came from us. 80. Hacienda Buenos Aires, the exclusive Normandia neighborhood. They knew exactly where I lived. I never hid my address. A man who hides is afraid. I was not afraid. August 6th, 1995, 4 in the morning. I heard them breaking down the door. I moved toward the caleta, the hidden room, but Jorge Salcedo had already given them the plans. Jorge Salcedo, my chief of security for 7 years. He gave police the layout of my house, the location of the caleta. A man I trusted sold my life to the DEA for immunity. They arrested me on August 6th, 1995. I did not run. I did not beg. I walked out and looked at the cameras directly. A chess player never panics when he loses a piece. He recalculates. La Picota prison, Bogota, but the cartel kept operating. From my cell, I made calls, sent messages, managed routes. Colombia had no extradition law. I was inconvenienced, not defeated. In 1997, Colombia lifted the extradition ban. Suddenly, the game shifted entirely. An American prison was no longer hypothetical. It was now something I had to calculate for. December 3rd, 2004. They put me on a plane to the United States. After 9 years avoiding it, there I was on the tarmac of El Dorado Airport in handcuffs heading north. September 26th, 2006. Miami Federal Court. We pleaded guilty. 30 years, $2.1 billion in forfeiture. I looked at the judge and I did not blink, not once. FCI Butner, North Carolina. Inmate 14023-059. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere I could not leave, could not buy my way out. I had lost the board. In prison, 2 heart attacks, colon cancer, prostate cancer, COVID. My lawyers filed for compassionate release in 2020. A judge denied it. America does not forgive chess players. Sometimes in that cell, I closed my eyes, and I was back in Cali, standing at my window. The city below me, all of it mine. Every light down there, mine. May 31st, 2022. I died in that cell. FCI Butner, 83 years old, the chess player. Inmate 14023-059. They said I lost. I say, look at what I built before they stopped me. The CaliCartel is gone. The DEA closed the file. The lawyers took their fees. The politicians moved on. But Drogas La Rebaja still stands on every corner of Cali. Our legacy lives. Ordinary people buy their medicine there every day. They never think about where the money came from. That is the beauty of a well-constructed system. It outlives its architect. Atletico de Cali still plays. The stadium fills every weekend. People cheer, people cry. And somewhere in those green and white colors, my name is woven in. They just don't say it. A chess player never blames the board when he loses. He asks, what move did I miss? For me, it was trusting Salcedo. One wrong piece in the wrong position. That is all it took. The king stands alone at the end of every game. That is the nature of the position. You climb to the top knowing every game ends. The question is only how long you hold the board. Gilberto Rodriguez Orejuela, January 30th, 1939, May 31st, 2022. The chess player. He did not die free, but he lived on a scale most men cannot even imagine in their dreams. They asked me, do you regret anything? I thought for a long time. I regret only those who trusted me and paid too high a price. Everyone else, I would do it all again, exactly the same. The king is the most important piece, but also the most protected. A good player never exposes his king. I exposed mine in 1995. One moment, one Jorge Salcedo. That is all it took. From up there, Cali looked like a circuit board of light. Every light connected to every other, and I was the current running through all of it. That was not ego. That was the truth. My lawyers worked for years on appeal, compassionate release, medical hardship filings. The Americans wanted to make an example, and I became the example they needed. The Justice Department said our conviction was the end of the Cali cartel. They were right. But the Norte del Valle cartel had already taken our roots. Nature abhors a vacuum. 80% of cocaine in the United States, 90% in Europe. Not boasts, verified DEA statistics, 1994. We were not the biggest cartel. We were the most efficient. We built a confederation, not a dictatorship. 15 independent organizations, coordinated but autonomous. That structure is exactly why it lasted as long as it did. Hacienda Buenos Aires. Someone else's family lives there now. New gates, new curtains, new children on the driveway. The building remembers nothing. Only those who were there remember. They teach about us in universities now. Case study in corruption and network theory. We went from cartel to curriculum. I find that unexpectedly satisfying. The light in that office went out on May 31st, 2022, in a cell in North Carolina, 4,000 kilometers from Cali, from the city he owned, from his window, from his board. The king is knocked over, the game is over. That is the signal, in chess, that the match has ended. You tip the king yourself. As a gentleman, Gilberto Rodriguez Orejuela. Game over. They will tell you I was a criminal. Correct? Dangerous. Also correct. But first, I was a boy from Cali who understood one thing. You either play the game or the game plays you. I played, and for 20 years, I was undefeated.